we'd come off the Natchez Bridge, and back then there was no red lights or nothing. There was a cop over by the name of Booger Red or something. Well, back then, no Chevrolet could catch a Ford. You know, that was an impossibility. So boys cruising on there, when old Ford mine got to about 95, you know, it leveled off. And Jerry said, he said, Killer, he said, he's gaining on us. And I said, I looked in the rear view mirror, and I said, he is gaining on us, ain't he? I said, well, something wrong, you know. We kept going. He said, he's gaining on us. And so between Faraday and Vidalia, they had a Pat's Drive-In. And Pat's Drive-In had just let out. And I said, my God, I said, look at the traffic. I started to slow down, and Jerry said, he's going to catch us. I said, well, what do you want me to do about it? He said, well, just take them on the right. And we were very lucky. I left the road making about 95 on the right-hand shoulder. It was just a two-lane highway. And I passed a string of traffic all the way, and we got to the colored church, which led up on the levee. I slammed on the brakes, went up on the levee, and we shut the lights off, and we seen him come by.
From hell-raising to heaven on earth. In the winter of 1951, Reverend Jewel E. Barton brings his Trav'lin Salvation show to town and hires the highly recommended Jerry Lee to play at the services. The good Reverend's daughter, Dorothy, finds herself drawn to Jerry Lee, and before you can say amen, she becomes the first Mrs. Jerry Lee Lewis. In an effort to allay the fears of his outraged father-in-law, the killer announces that he's going to become a preacher and enrolls at the Southwestern Bible Institute in Waxahachie, Texas. Things go well for the freshman preacher until one day his boogie-woogie roots show through, and Jerry Lee lets loose at a student assembly. The students are impressed. The dean is not, and Jerry Lee is sent packing. His marriage to Dorothy ends in separation, and he meets and marries Jane Mitchum without benefit of divorce. No longer a minister, the killer enters the world of sales and commerce.
Well, I work for Atlas Sewing Center out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I was a sewing machine salesman.
Can you imagine Jerry Lee Lewis as a salesman? He couldn't sell anything, but he sold those sewing machines. Jerry goes out, makes the appointment, gets all the sewing machines. He doesn't set up payment plan.
Jerry Lee quickly becomes the hottest salesman in the history of the South. But there's a hitch.
What I'd do is I'd knock on the door and tell them they won the machine, you know. I said, would you sign right here and pay me $10 for excise tax, you know? And they sign it.
He sells them until they're all gone. He gets cash, and that's the end of it.
District attorney wanted to lock me up bad.
With the Atlas Sewing Center, the local law, and outraged housewives on his tail, the killer puts his sales career behind him. The time is ripe for a trip to the country music capital of the world to see if he can give his musical ambitions a boost. Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA, the home of the stars and legends of country music.